Hi guys, Southern Scouser here for the season review. Liverpool obviously missed out on the Champions League 1-0 on Saturday evening against Real Madrid. I'm going to get into that. Obviously the league season's finished as well. Liverpool finished runners-up yet again behind Man City again by the narrowest of margins. So yeah, what could have been a quadruple became a pretty good cup double. But realistically, I think the success that we've had in previous seasons, obviously 2019 and 2020, winning the Champions League and the Premier League, is Liverpool's season a success? Yes, it is a success. You've won 2 domestic cups out of 2. Fantastic. Bus parade was awesome. Looked really, really good. You could see the players' faces though on the bus that, yeah, you know, we've done really, really well to win the 2, but it was happiness tinged with disappointment, wasn't it? I know it was the night after the Champions League final, which is not ideal, really. But, you know, I think realistically the aim this season was to win, you know, one of the big 2, if not both the big 2, and they didn't win either of the big 2. The cups are nice. I think they've lost a little bit of importance in recent years. I think Liverpool has so often, for the last few years, you know, dismissed the cups because of the squad size and thought, do you know what? We'll go all out for the big 2, and we kind of chucked away the other 2. You know, yeah, we got to a final in 2016 under Klopp pretty early on when we weren't really even in Europe that much, so don't really count that. But, you know, since then, since Liverpool have been a big side going for the big 2 trophies, they've not really, until this season, really tried in the cups that much, and have gone out pretty early doors. I think they made a semi-final against Southampton, but again, it's, you know, much changed teams, etc., and never really had that much success. So yeah, it's great. You know, the first FA Cup since 2006, the first Carabao Cup since 2012. Absolutely brilliant. It's what we want to see. Qualified for the Community Shield. We've lost 2 out of 2 under Klopp. 1 against City happens. 1 against Arsenal shouldn't have happened. Should have won that. So that would be nice if we could win that trophy. I think that's the only one Klopp's not won, apart from the Europa League, which, you know, you're not really going to qualify for again, are you? Because we're at a success level where we don't go into the Europa League anymore, unless we have a shocker in the Champions League group stages next season. But yeah, let's get into it then. So I guess the only place to start is the Champions League final. A lot of pundits saying Liverpool were, you know, played well, were good, deserved to win. I'm personally going to be honest and say we weren't that good. We didn't deserve to win. I don't think anybody in the team, bar Canate, was above a 6 out of 10 overall. I think Trent was poor. His delivery wasn't great. The corners were shocking. The crosses were rubbish. That's not just Trent, that's everybody. The defence for the goal wasn't great. The defence for the disallowed goal wasn't great. I think we were quite fortunate not to be 1-0 down at half time. And, you know, yes, possession is great, 9/10 of the law and all that, but if you don't do anything with it, you know, there's not a great deal of point, really. So yeah, we did dominate the ball in large parts. We did dominate territory, but I just feel Klopp and Liverpool were very naive. For a team that's been to 2 Champions League finals already, it's coming to your 3rd one with that much naivety that Real Madrid were obviously going to let you have the ball. We're obviously going to sit back. We're obviously going to try and sucker punch and counter-attack you, and that's exactly what they did, and we fell into the trap. And, you know, we've seen time and time again that Liverpool have had, you know, trouble breaking down 9-10 players behind the ball and get caught on the counter-attack. You know, Burnley, Fulham at home a couple of last season, Brighton at home as well. You know, all these teams that have come to Anfield and parked the bus and have got away with a 1-0 win, and Liverpool don't really have a plan B and still don't. To be honest, I felt Diaz was maybe someone that was coming in to break that. Thiago as well, but, you know, Diaz, yeah, personally, I don't think he should have been taken off after an hour. I think he was one of the better players on the pitch. I think Mane and Salah were bang average. Everybody's saying Courtois was the man of the match, and yeah, I mean, in a pretty basic average game, I don't think anybody particularly shone on either side. Courtois made a good save from Mane in the first half and a good save from Salah in the second, but, you know, we're up against a goalkeeper that plays for Real Madrid. You know, these aren't unexpected saves. They're good saves. Good save. You know, he's got down well for Mane. He stood up well for Salah. He shouldn't be getting beat at your near post or from distance. So, yeah, without being too harsh on Mane and Salah, they had 1 shot each that I felt worked the goalkeeper. Other than that, straight at him, easy, simple catches, and a pretty easy night for Courtois, if I'm honest. Other than those 2 major saves, I can't think of any time he had a shot where he particularly struggled with that. So, yeah, I think overall it was a pretty poor game. Obviously disappointed with the result. Real Madrid deserved their win, and You know, you look at the way they got to the final: PSG, Chelsea, Man City, and Liverpool. You know, they did it the hard way, and Liverpool are becoming that Germany, aren't they, in the World Cup? You know, even if you're not, you know, just be your best. Whatever your team is, be at your best. So you never know what's going to happen. You know, the draw can open up. You can get a Benfica and a Villarreal in the quarters and the semi-final out of pure luck, and put yourself in the final for a one-off 90-minute game to become European champions. And, you know, it wasn't to be this time. Lots of talk about revenge. You know, Madrid 2018, only 5 players remained from Real Madrid. The last time they won the Champions League, which was Carvajal, Benzema, Cruz, Modric and Casemiro. Liverpool started with 8 of the team that won in 2019 in Madrid. So experience, yes, Madrid have it, but Liverpool had the experience on their side, really. This time around, Madrid are very much a team in transition. Lots of older statesmen coming towards the end of their career. Lots of young players not quite hitting the heights that they're expected to hit just yet. You know, Vinicius has been brilliant this year. Obviously, Benzema's been fantastic. Rodrigo in and out the team. You know, makeshift defence. I don't. You know, Militao and Alaba, their centre halves, have played left back and right back for large parts of their career as well. So, you know, I felt Madrid were there to be got at. I felt they were probably very fortunate to be there anyway. But it turns out, you know, we hopefully, you know, we hoped to play the wrong team in the final, because, you know, at the end of the day we lost, which was a big shame. And, you know, a week on, 6 days on from the Premier League disappointment, it's a bitter pill to swallow. You know, 2019 we missed out on the league by a point, but we went and won the Champions League a week later, and, you know, it felt like we deserved that because of what a great season we had overall. But, you know, to end the season with just the domestic cups, which, yeah, are great, but, you know, if a League Cup can be won by a Swansea and an FA Cup can be won by an Arsenal or a Wigan or a Portsmouth, they're not massively prestigious trophies for a team of Liverpool's stature and of Liverpool's ability. You know, yes, we've come good at the wrong time. Manchester City are dominating football. They've just signed Erling Haaland. We're going to get into that a bit more transfer talk in a moment. But yeah, disappointing really. I just felt a big opportunity missed. You know, if we'd played well, then, you know, yes, you can lose games, but to turn up and, you know, you saw Van Dijk at the end of his, you know, jacket over his head. I think they knew that they weren't at their best. And, you know, we've been in 3 finals this season. We haven't scored a goal. You know, we won 2 on penalties. We could have easily lost one of the penalty shootouts, if not both, to Chelsea, and come away with this season with, you know, 3 final losses and a runners up in the league, which would have been dreadful. So what does that tell you? You know, the defence isn't too bad. We're not conceding loads of goals, but, you know, do we need a more clinical striker? You know, Salah's started the season in great form and slowly got worse and pretty much fell off a cliff. Barely scored a goal in the second part of the season. Sadio Mane, we'll get into him in a moment. Probably Liverpool's best performer in the second half of the season, at least. Definitely stood up and took over from the lack of goals that Salah was scoring. And again, Jota started the season really well, but again faded pretty badly. Firmino's never been a prolific striker, goal-wise, and Luis Diaz is quite new. He's definitely getting the odd goal here and there, feeling himself in. I think it was a 6-month bonus, I think, really, to get him in January. I'd expect him to be a lot more involved next year, and leads me perfectly onto my next topic, which is obviously Sadio Mane has announced that he'll be leaving the club, moving on to Bayern Munich, which, yeah, it's... What are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments what you feel. You know, he's been here a long time. One of Klopp's first ever signings. Has he run his course? You know, the COVID season where we struggled with no centre backs, Mane was really bad, but he's bounced back brilliantly this season. You know, there's been talk of Ballon d'Or, which obviously Benzema's going to win hands down. But yeah, it's a shame because Mane's been good this year. He's always had his, you know, Achilles heel, if you like. He's never been the perfect player. He's missed one-on-ones. He's had little fallouts with Mo Salah, and he's had drop in form. But, you know, you look at his stats and his games and his goals, he's up there with the very, very best on the left wing. And trying to replace him, you know, is going to be interesting because he's kind of become the number 9 this season. You know, I felt Luis Diaz was maybe the replacement for him on the left wing anyway, which has been fantastic and a very good transition. But Sadio Mane can play on the left, did move over to the left in the Champions League final, and as I said, has become more of a central figure in that front three. So interesting to see what Liverpool do. You know, do they go for another wide player and Jota and Firmino fight out for the number 9 spot, or do they bring in another striker, an actual number 9 that's actually going to score us goals? And you know, as I said, you look at the 3 finals we played in, and we didn't score. So I think for me, someone that's prolific that maybe can play somewhere across the front 3 would be good. Liverpool like to interchange, or just a number 9 like Erling Haaland's gone to Manchester City to become, you know, a focal point, and you know, rather than sharing out the goals, they're going to be looking for him a lot more next season. So interesting debate. You know, the likes of Darwin Núñez at Benfica scored a lot of goals this season in the Portuguese league and in Europe on the continental stage. And Kunku at Red Bull Leipzig, another really good player, can play anywhere across that front 3. A lot of goals in the Bundesliga, and a lot of goals in the Champions League and the Europa League as well. So, you know, to be honest, we've lost Divock Origi as well. Do we look at both of those players? I mean, wow, you know, Mane and Origi out, a 30-year-old and a 27-year-old that's a bit part player, to bringing in a Darwin Núñez that would be, you know, arguably your starting number 9. You know, Firmino's not really getting any younger. He isn't really starting to score any more goals. Jota's patchy form. Salah's the best player in the world on his day, but again, as you know, we never take him off. We never able to replace him, to sub him off, because there's nobody else on that side that can play that well. So, you know, someone to really just make them on their toes a little bit. You know, there's been times in the past where we've only had the 3 available. I think Jota got injured last season. You know, we didn't have Diaz, so we were down to the front 3 as it was before. And there's no rotation. There's no options to change the system. You know, if you do leave one out in the front 4, they come on as a sub anyway. So I've liked the front 5 this season, and I think it's a big part of why we went so close in the league and got to the Champions League final with Diaz coming in. So now to take that back to a 4 with Mane leaving, you know, there's been talk of £25 million. He's got a year left on his deal. A player of Sadio Mane, it's 50 million minimum. If you want him even for a season early, it's 50 million. Now, people wanted, I think Madrid were bidding 100 and something million for Mbappe with a year left on his deal. We bought Chamberlain for 30 million with a year on his deal, you know, 3 or 4 years ago. There's no way in the world Sadio Mane is going to be going for less than that. So I think £50 million would be fair. Lewandowski's another name that's been linked. You know, he's worked with Jurgen Klopp before. He looks like he wants to leave Bayern Munich. Is Mane coming into Bayern to be that number 9, that through the middle player? And I think he'll do really well there. It's an interesting one. He's won everything he could win at Liverpool. I get it. If you want to move on, you want to become the main man. You know, the talk of the contract's been Mo Salah, and it's not really been on Mane, which, you know, is disappointing for him. I get that, but you know, sometimes you just have to accept, you know, all this, I want to be the top earner and all this thing. Who gives a crap? If you're rich, you're rich. You know, if you get paid what you feel you deserve, I don't care if Salah's on 300k a week and I'm on 250. I could not give a monkey's. I'm getting £1 million a month. You know, yeah, if Salah was getting 400 and I was getting 50 grand a week, oh my God, I'm still a complete millionaire. But yeah, that's fair enough. You'd be like, hang on a minute, he's getting, you know, way more than me. But, you know, less than 50k difference or something, you know, at the end of the day, it's not a big deal, is it? You know, they've got their bonuses for goals, etc., etc. So, yeah, fair enough if he wants to move on, you know, different environment, work with in a different league and pretty much guarantee himself some trophies. You know, he's going to win the Bundesliga for the next 4 years. That's exciting. So, no, fair play to him, good luck. But I'm at that place now where I don't care. Sadio Mane's been brilliant, but if a player wants to leave, a player wants to leave. Let him go, you know. We've seen it before. Wijnaldum, Emre Can, Coutinho. It's not gone great for him, is it? So I think Mane will probably do better than all of those 3 combined at Bayern Munich. But, you know, like you say, he's 30 years old. Realistically, how many more seasons have we got of Sadio Mane at his peak? You know, to cash in on a 30-year-old for 50 million quid and put that towards a Christopher Nkunku or a Darwin Núñez who are 23 or below, it's business sense. It makes sense for FS. It's an FSG kind of model. You know, it's sensible. You know, we were talking about Firmino's got a year left, Salah's got a year left. Well, you can't give 3 30-year-olds 4-year deals on 300 grand a week, 250 grand a week, because it doesn't make sense. You know, you're going to end up with a couple of 34-year-olds that, you know, might not even be in the 11 anymore in 3 years' time towards the end of their contracts, because you might have brought in the likes of Darwin Núñez and Nkunku to replace them. So, yeah, if Mane's the one to go, Mane's the one to go. Maybe that means Firmino gets to stay on and maybe become a 4th choice, 5th choice forward. I think Jota's one ahead of Firmino. Salah's obviously first choice. I think Diaz will be left wing regardless next season, and that makes me feel that Diaz is left, Salah's right, and the number 9 spot is probably the weakest of the three. Jota can play left or through the middle. Firmino can only play through the middle. Yes, you could put Diaz or Jota on the right, but again, how many games is someone on the right going to play with Mo Salah there a lot of the time? So I do feel it's time to get, like I say, either an Nkunku that can play anywhere across the front three, or go all in on Darwin Núñez as a central number 9. And to be brutally honest, I don't think he's that far off Haaland. Yes, Haaland's been doing it in a better league. I get that for longer. But Darwin Núñez he's a very similar mould. He's big, he's tall, he's strong, he's fast, he's number 9, he's a good finisher, he's clinical, good in the air. I think either of those two would be great. And as I say, I'd personally get both of them. We've lost Origi as well. I don't think Minamino particularly wants to stay around anymore. So if we lose Minamino, Origi and Mane, Nkunku and Darwin Núñez, I think would be very, very good business in that department. So yeah, 3 out, 2 in potentially. As I say, just talking about the transfers quickly before I talk about the Premier League to finish off. Midfield, I think there's Milner looks like he's going to sign another year deal, but I can't see him playing much next season. I think it's going to be more of a time over to a coaching role, player/coach. Henderson and Thiago are getting into their 30s now. They can't play every week, which leaves you Fabinho in the midfield as a definite starter. Harvey Elliott, very in and out this season, still very young. Curtis Jones, I don't think he's good enough to be a first 11 player. He's a very good player to have in the squad, but not a first 11, which is what I'm looking at right now. If I'm looking at Diaz and Salah, we're missing that 9. Jota can do it, yes. Firmino can do it, yes. Will we go with the 4 and just rotate those 2 and move it around? I don't know. I still think we need one more person to rotate in the front 3. But yeah, in midfield, Chamberlain looks like he's going to be on his way. Barely played. I don't rate Naby Keita. You can come for me in the comments. I don't care. I do not rate the boy. Chance against Madrid, 60 million quid on the edge of the box. And imagine not wanting a chance to fall to somebody that cost you £60 million to do exactly that. Not good enough. He needs to be moved on, in my opinion. I don't think he will be, because we're probably lacking numbers in that department anyway. But I think probably a couple of midfielders would probably be required in there. At least one, definitely at least one. Thiago can't be relied on. Henderson plays 75 minutes and is starting to be rotated. We've mentioned Milner, we've mentioned Chamberlain. So, and Elliott and Jones are good squad players, but the best years are definitely ahead of them. Tchouaméni's been linked, Bellingham, another potential option. Will Dortmund sell another player, another priced asset in the same summer? I can't see it. Tielemans has been linked in the past, but hasn't been great lately for Leicester. So yeah, there's options in midfield. I think there's a space definitely to go and sign a midfielder. So will we see some movement in the transfer window this summer? I think hopefully we will do. I'm not particularly confident. Last summer we did all the transfer Tuesdays over on the Red Sea podcast, and I don't think we signed a soul. I think we bought Konate at the start of the summer and Luis Diaz in January. Apart from that, we didn't buy anybody. So yeah, don't get your hopes up too much, but at some point we are going to need to dip in, I think, because otherwise, this squad is going to age pretty slowly and gradually, yes, but if you don't do anything for a couple of years, Liverpool have been criminal about doing that. They've waited an extra year to get a position, and then Milner's had to play left back for a season, or we've had no centre backs for a whole year because we went into a season with Matip and Gomez, who are really injury prone, and Van Dijk unfortunately had that horrific injury. Into the goalkeeper department, Kelleher and Alisson are great. Left back, Robertson and Smikas are great. Right back, Trent and Gomez, not too bad. Centre back, Matip, Konate and Van Dijk, again, pretty good. So I think defence is pretty much sorted, but I think at least one midfielder and at least one front 3 player is definitely needed in the summer. So like you say, we'll look at the outgoings. I think Minamino, Origi, Mane and Chamberlain are probably the 4 likeliest players to leave the club. If we can get 50 million for Mane, I don't know, 20, 25 for Chamberlain ish. Minamino again around the 20 mark, and Origi I think is going on a free transfer to AC Milan. So frees up a little bit of wages as well. But yeah, obviously the last kind of point to touch on really, the Premier League season. Disappointing that we missed out again. I touched on this briefly in my last video, but draws with Brighton, Brentford, losses to West Ham and Leicester. We didn't beat any of the top 4 home or away. And yeah, we missed out by a point, but we could have missed out on goal difference. Manchester City have had games this season where they've dropped points, and they could look at it in exactly the same way. The Rodri handball at Everton, yes, is a moment, but Liverpool have had plenty of lucky escapes as well this season, and some pretty average performances where they've come away with the 3 points. So yeah, overall, as I kind of touch on the transfers there, you look at it and you think, okay, we missed out on the league, we missed out on the Champions League, yes, by the very narrowest of margins, but to go again, you have to improve. I feel if Diaz was here for the whole season, we could have won the Prem. But Man City have now pulled away with Erling Haaland now. So to even come close to Manchester City again, I feel we need an extra addition. And to overcome teams like Real Madrid and to find someone that can score in the big moments. Because for me lately, Mo Salah has not been scoring in the big moments and in the big games. He's not at all. Which has been a big disappointment. And to hang your hat on one player, now Sadio Mane is going to be moving on, it's risky, because if Mo Salah starts next season in a similar form and maybe scoring 1 in every 4 rather than 1 in every 2, it could be a long season. You look at the likes of Chelsea, new owners, will they improve? Newcastle are going to go again. Man United under new management. Arsenal missed out on top 4. They're going to go again. Spurs, they're hungry for success back in the Champions League. They've got a lot of money to spend. Looks like Son and Kane are going to stay. There's a player I'd sign in a heartbeat, Heung-min Son. Would he look at going to Liverpool? But the funds involved would maybe be too much. Declan Rice is another player I'd like to see at Liverpool. But again, the money that's being talked about is apocalyptic. So we might have to be careful and clever in that one and wait a summer and maybe pick up a couple of free transfers. Because we've seen a lot lately, players have started to do that a lot more now. They're running their contracts down. It's power to the player then, isn't it? They're not discussing transfer fees for themselves, 100 million from club to club. It's, you look at the Mbappe deal, out of contract, stayed where he was, but look at the money he's got just from signing a new contract at free will, with that risk of going to a different team, not signing a contract during his term and his contracted time, signing a contract as a free agent back with the same team. And it just shows you that that's the way football's going now. Transfer fees are going to start dwindling down. There'll be buyout clauses that players will demand to go into their contracts. So anybody meets it, they're free to go. If they sign a 4-year deal, they'll put a contract status in saying that if anybody pays this amount of money for me, I want to go after 2. So definitely player power now. But yeah, I think Liverpool overall, you look at the season and you think, yeah, 2 domestic trophies, 2 cups out of 4, but not the big 2. So next year, for me, I think the aim has to be, the priority has to be the league. I think the Champions League definitely up there as well. I think the cups probably not so important next season. If I'm honest, having both won them both this year, it'd be great to win all 4 and go for a quadruple once again. But I think having won the 2 domestic cups, I think the priority again will swing back over to the big 2. So yeah, that's it from me. Ordered my new shirt, Luis Diaz on the back. Looking forward to that one for sure. Obviously England are playing in the Nations League coming up. Liverpool will be back in pre-season action pretty soon. So look out for me over on the Red Sea podcast. We're going to be doing some transfer Tuesdays, probably every other week, maybe once a month, something like that, just to keep in touch with all the latest, the movement and the rumours. But obviously all the players going off on holiday now. No World Cup this summer, so I think you'll see earlier transfers than maybe you would have done. A lot of players tend to wait till after the tournament, but obviously that being in November, December, I think there'll be a little bit earlier movement in the transfer window. So yeah, fingers crossed Liverpool brings somebody in midfield and up front. Sadio Mane does look like he's on his way. Liverpool, as I said, very naive in the Champions League final. I don't think we played well enough to win it. I don't think Real Madrid played well enough either, but they took their chance, unlucky not to score. The first goal, that one for me looked like it probably should have counted as well. So yeah, not to be this time, but we'll be back. As Jurgen Klopp said, Istanbul, Ataturk Stadium from 2005. The final's back there next season. Book your hotel. We're going to go for it again, boys. We'll see you soon. Thanks for watching.